And we are live. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Here Be Dragons, where creativity meets courage and dragons live in the art we create and the lives we lead. I'm Carla Morrow of Dragon Lady Art, and with me is my co-pilot. Let me try that again. My co-pilot and dragon rider extraordinaire,
Alan Childers of Alan Childers Art and Illustration. We're here to talk about the dragons we face, the treasure we're after, and the wondrously weird journey of life. Every episode will explore what it takes to face your dragons and maybe even ride one.
So grab your shields and sharpen your claws, and let's dive in because today we're asking the question that matters most. What dragons are you facing? Welcome to Heather Hitchman. Woohoo!
Hi, Heather.
Hello. Nice to see you guys again.
Yay, I'm so glad you're here. You're like your style is one of my favorite artists.
No way.
Yeah.
Aww.
So when we were at One Fantastic Weekend together in what was it, like 2017? I couldn't believe you were there. Like I didn't realize who you were, but I recognized your art.
Aww.
And I think I even saw you, like you were holding one of your unicorn pieces, and I was like, oh my God, I love that art so much. And you were like, do you want it? And I was like, yes.
Oh my God, I remember
That was me. Yeah.
Aw. Wow. How it's funny how like things come around almost 2 decades later or a decade.
I know. No. One. One. Do not add any more to that timeline.
Okay, fine. Oh, I'm glad you have one of my unicorns. I didn't realize.
Yes, I love it. Yep.
Yeah.
So yeah, tell us where people can find you.
Okay, well, my name is Heather Hitchman. My world is called Terratoff, so you can find it on terratoff.com. That's TERRATOFF.com, or heatherhitchman.com redirects to the same website. So,
oh, nice.
You can find me.
Awesome.
Good idea.
And all my links to my socials are on there.
Perfect. We'll add them into the show notes later.
Excellent.
Awesome. So no, go ahead.
Heather, one of the questions we ask all of our guests who come on is what dragons are you facing? Like dragons as in, things that are preventing you from making work, or are you riding your dragons? Have you already conquered them?
Oh, wow. I think it's a little bit of both. I'm conquering some and riding others, and others are still kind of like lingering around. So I think my biggest dragon that I've been facing over the past couple of years is getting diagnosed with a few chronic illnesses. At one point, the health effects were so bad, I was in a wheelchair. So I had to like stop everything. I had to stop doing shows. I had to stop making art. Like I had, so one of the things that come along with my illnesses is low ferritin, and it's not the same as being anemic. And so I was getting all these tests to try to find out if I was anemic, because that's like what the symptoms were like, but all of my blood work was coming back fine for that. And then finally I found a doctor that would listen, and she said, you should get your ferritin checked. And I said, what's ferritin? And it's your iron stores, and it's a special test they have to do. So like you can have iron flowing through your blood, but have like nothing in your tank. And if you have nothing in your tank, you'll have a lot of the same symptoms as anemia. So mine, normal ferritin reading for a woman should be around 100. Mine was at a 7.
Whoa.
So it was so low. I had to have a wheelchair to get around certain environments. And the worst part was like I couldn't draw and I couldn't write.
Ooh.
Yeah. So I had to like kind of take a step back from my career and my art to really focus on my health for a while. And now it's at a point that I would say is manageable. Like I can still, I still have like chronic fatigue and pain that comes and goes, but I can get back to making art and I can write. Like the fact that I don't have like the brain fog anymore is a huge, huge win for me. So that's a dragon that I kind of am managing, but I had to manage that dragon first before I could like move on to other dragons, because if you can't think, like you can't function. You know
Yeah,
what I
for
mean?
sure. I know with my own stuff, I dealt with chronic fatigue a lot. We still don't know the source. Do you have the, what is it, the MTHRFR, whatever gene that everybody's talking about now? All I see, and I see like the motherfucker gene, and I know that's not what it is, but it's supposed to be tied to that, like the ferritin or weird iron, or a lot of women that have neurodivergence and things like that. It tends to show up there. So
be something I don't know yet because
it's relatively new.
Sorry,
that's something that I'm going to go in and get tested for too, to see if I have the gene, because it's the same thing, right? We couldn't quite figure out where it was coming from, and I wasn't quite wheelchair bound, but I couldn't be upright for longer than like 2 hours a day, and then I would just have to go lay back down because the fatigue is so bad. And like what it did to feeling like an artist, right? Associating as an artist, because that's all wrapped in our identities, right? The painters and the creating and going to shows. Like I had friends that were messaging me going, oh, you should do this show and you should do that show, and I'm like, I don't even know if I can do shows at all anymore. I need you to quit talking to me for a little while.
Yeah,
because
that must have been,
figure this out first.
That must have been so incredibly hard, Heather, like because like you have to go through that moment, like who am I if I'm not an artist? I'm not, you're always an artist whether you're creating it or not, but like not being able to, like, in a lot of ways making art like is our thought processes, right? Like it helps us think better. I know if I don't create art regularly, like I can't, like my brain doesn't work right.
yeah if you kind of get like emotionally constipated, at least I do, because so much of like how I process the world and my feelings and just like what I'm going through is through my art. So when I can't create, it definitely for me creates like that emotional, mental constipation, and it like affects my mood so much. So I can relate to that.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Did you have a way of handling that, of like starting to think about other ways of being creative, or like what you would do, God forbid it didn't get better, or anything like that?
Oh God. So my husband and I had that discussion. And he would always say, you're going to get better. You're going to get better. And I would say, finally, I told him, I was like, you have to stop saying that because we don't know what's wrong with me. I might not get better.
Yeah.
Instead, say that you'll stay. Say that you'll stay here.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And once we had that established, I mean, I knew he wasn't going to go anywhere, but once right. Like we had kind of like established how we were feeling about it, I had processed the grief of like the body that I knew and the body that I lost. And I started to finally like make headway with the diagnosis and the health process and learning how to be my own advocate, which was really fun. Then I started to be able to have just like the mental ability to think, okay, how can I get back into my identity of being an artist? How can I get back to making art and writing stories again? And a book that really helped me was Atomic Habits. I think it's by James Clear. It's
Cleary,
something like that. But that book really helped just like kind of jumpstart me into the idea of habit stacking. So the idea is when you're trying to like get back into doing something again, and that is something with art in particular that I have a really hard time. When I take a break, it's so hard to get back to the canvas, back to the easel. So the idea of like stacking this habit with something else that I do all the time without even thinking really helped me. So I'm going to draw for 15 minutes after I have breakfast every day. And I committed to that. I was like, 15 minutes. If I can just do 15 minutes a day, that's enough just to kind of like show up. Because that's what they say also about if you want to start a gym regime, just show up. Don't touch any of the weights. Don't do any kind of workout. Just get going to the gym as part of your identity. So that's what I did for months. And while I was working on my health and while I was getting my strength back, just committing to that 15 minutes a day. And there's really like no excuse that I couldn't do it because it was such a low goal, but that was a great starting point for me. And it just kind of grew from there as like my stamina grew over time.
That's awesome.
And I think that's part of it too, is like finally admitting where you're at and not continuing to say, why can't I paint for 6 hours a day? Or why can't I drive
Yeah.
for 8 hours?
Yeah.
Like just saying, I might not get better and this is what I have to work with. Now let's figure out what I have to work with, right? Because you're no longer mourning the past that you were and trying to compare yourself with your past self. Because that, I mean, no matter what, it changes. Like, you know, you could be hit by a car tomorrow and you still lose, you know, whatever. And it's not
Yeah.
just an aging thing, it's an anytime thing. And I think accepting like where you are in that moment and then growing from there is something that is skipped over a lot, right?
Absolutely.
Hi, Renee. Hi, Elliot. Sorry.
Nope.
Just talking to some people in the chat. I definitely resonate with the being your own advocate, because as somebody who's my significant other passed away in January and lost her battle to a chronic illness, and it for the longest time when she was manageable, it seemed like they wanted to deprioritize her and deprioritize her health. So like being your own advocate and letting them know, like letting the health professionals know, like, hey, yeah, I want to get better. Like, let's do whatever it takes. You know, it's a hard struggle. So I definitely resonated with that.
I'm sorry that you've been through that. That must be heartbreaking.
It is, and grief is kind of a chronic emotional state as well, which some days it prevents me from making art. So I'm putting Atomic Habits on my reading list because I think that would benefit me well, and like habit stacking sounds like it would benefit me quite well too.
Oh yeah,
it's a wonderful book.
Yeah, have you read it, Carla?
I have the audiobook.
Yeah, that's what I did. I did audiobook because that was easier for me at the time as well.
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk about Terratoff. Let's talk about your world and some awesome whimsical stuff of artwork that you create.
Okay, what do you want to know?
Tell us the pitch for Terratoff. Like, tell us explain to our listeners and people watching this what Terratoff is and how you envision that world.
So Terratoff began many moons ago when I was a wee lass playing in the playground with my best friends in elementary school. And it was this imaginary world that we used to go to. And we would go on adventures with animals and play with magic and just have a really good time. And it was not as sophisticated as an idea as it is now. It was very Sailor Moon inspired back in the day. And it really has like nothing to do with Sailor Moon anymore. But
is that the 80s? I think that's in the 80s artist starter kit.
Yeah.
You and your friends used to go to a magical land and play there. Because I have like the exact same memories of like going through a portal and having magical unicorns and Pegasi as your best friends.
We had like little rings, and when we put the rings on, we were going to Terratoff. And
that's awesome.
There was a specific tree we used to play around at Kilmer Elementary School. And around that time, I also read The Bridge to Terabithia, which is an amazing book and very inspiring. And I think what I love about the 80s is that media for children had so much grief in it, and it had so much like real life in it. Yeah. And I think that we've lost that over time. And there was just like this safe darkness that you could experience in 80s media and like Don Bluth movies and stuff like that. So that always stuck with me as I grew up. And I always had like this story of Terratoff just like growing and evolving in my head over the years. And I just kept drawing all these characters. When we were kids, we used to like draw scenes from like our favorite games, and we would trade them with each other, and we'd write the little stories on the back.
That's so cool.
When I went to college, I wanted to be an animation major, and that did not go great for me. I graduated right when the big recession happened, and so I could only get jobs like working in news studios. So my hope to become an animator and make Terratoff like an animated thing that dream was fading away. And I had just lost a job in Fort Lauderdale. We lost everything and we had to move in with my parents. So I was at my lowest, I think. And I remember driving around Philadelphia with Tad. I think he was still my boyfriend at that point. And I was just like, I don't know what I'm going to do. Like this industry is so rough. And I'm so like exhausted from working in this industry. I don't even know if it's what I want to do anymore, but that's what my degree is in. I have spent all this money on student loans. What am I going to do? And he said, he asked the question that changed the trajectory of our lives. He said, if you could do anything, money was not an option. Money was not involved. What would you do? And I was like, I would make Terratoff. And he said, so you do that. So I had to sit and figure out, how can I do Terratoff on my own? And I was taken back to those days in the playground where we just would make art and write little stories on the back. And I was like, well, I can do that. So now I have my artwork and they all come with little stories on the back.
Oh, that's great.
And my goal is to one day create a series of illustrated novels based in this fantasy world. The world is centered around these magical creatures. We call them in Terratoff, they're creatures of magic. And there are corrupted ones called the Rot. And they have been corrupted by a magical plague that transforms them from the inside out. So depending on like what their personality traits are, they kind of become more evil versions of like their darkest like aspects of their personality. And then their body transforms as I have an example here. Their body transforms as a reflection. So this is like a rotten dragon I did. Focus. Camera.
That wasn't for our audience. That was for the camera.
Sorry. Yes, it was for, I'm trying to get
No.
the camera. The camera is not focusing on it, but, and so where was I? The magical world is trying to figure out if we can extinguish the rot and what that would mean for the world. So that is what Terratoff is.
Oh, that's pretty sweet. I like that. And it definitely has that 80s, the nothingness, never ending story kind of vibe with the rot stuff. And like, really sounds really fantastical. And I love that.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I really wanted to incorporate that, that dark feeling to it. And I get people at my booth all the time that ask, is this safe for kids? I'm like, well, would you let your kids watch The Last Unicorn? Would you let them watch All Dogs Go to Heaven? Would you let them watch The Secrets of Nim? Because if you would let them watch that stuff,
Watership Down.
Watership Down.
Watership
It's
Down.
not quite as bloody as Watership Down. Not yet. So I would like to go more that direction. But yeah, I'm like, if you would let your kids watch that stuff, if you're a cool witchy person that likes that vibe, then this is the world for you.
Nice.
So cool. That's so cool. And what other, because you have the images and you have the little short stories. Are there other products and other, are you trying to create an entire ecosystem that exists in this world as far as like products married with art, things like that?
Oh yeah. Well, my ultimate goal is to do the illustrated novels. But until then, I've been focusing on making prints with the stories on the back in various sizes. I also have, where are they? I have stickers and bookmarks.
Ooh, your bookmarks are nice.
Oh, nice.
Thank you. I sell these all day long at conventions. These are big hits. I've also done things like tote bags and playmats in the past, though they didn't do great. I still have people that ask me about them though, so maybe I'll figure out a way to bring them back. The problem is they're kind of cost prohibitive, at least like where I was getting them before. So I probably just need to find a better manufacturer. And also I don't do a lot of horizontal art. So that kind of limits playmats for me. I've started doing magnets. So I have like 5-inch magnets. They had to be relatively big because when I tried printing them smaller, I guess it's just like the material that magnets are printed on. It really distorted the artwork for me. And now Tad and I are working on a series of coloring books. So I'm really excited to get the coloring done. Oh my God. My husband's an artist too, and he inks incredibly fast. He has a background in caricature. So he's just like blowing through these things. And we're almost done with book 1. And the other day I was like, do you think we could maybe do a dragon one in time for Dragon Con? And he was
Oh my
like,
God, yes.
he was like, I can, but I'm taking a week off after that. Whatever you need to do.
Anything you need, honey.
It's like you're a
Anytime.
machine.
He's my inking machine, but
There you go.
really
Is he hand inking those then? He's hand inking them or using the
doing
computer?
it by hand in Photoshop, if that's what
Okay, well, yeah, that's
Yeah.
still by hand, still with the stylus and stuff. But
He's not doing like any kind of filter or anything to make it look
right. You're not like
fine.
running it through AI.
He's redrawing it. No, we
Yeah.
don't use AI in this house.
No, I don't think so. This is an
Oh,
AI-free zone.
yes.
As much as it can be these days. Oh my gosh.
I think the only thing that I use that's technically AI is spell check, if that counts. I don't know if it even counts.
Well, they try to shove it into everything nowadays. It's like, geez.
Yeah, I hate the AI spell check. It's so stupid. I miss regular spell check. Like I want to go back to 2022 spell check because now it just changes the words and then I go back through and read it and go, I don't remember what I said there, but that wasn't it.
Yeah.
It's so bad.
So when I think of Terratoff, like I think of like there's these huge art books that like World of Warcraft put out that have like a bunch of their artwork in it. But like I'm just imagining a storybook that size that you open up and it's like
a tome.
Huge and it's just got like maps and regions and characters and all these illustrated like, you know, just awesome story of, you know, the good creatures versus the rot or the fantasy creatures versus the rot. So it's kind of, that's interesting. I'm like, and if anybody has not, like, go check out Terratoff. Like the level of work I think that Heather has done on her website really like draws you in and sells it. You know, I know a lot of people don't do websites anymore. And I think kind of like, I think we need to go back to that. I think we need to go back to this, you know, making a website almost feel like a version of your world and your style, because it's a really great website.
Thank you. Yeah, I wanted it to feel like you were transported. All of the creatures are born from a magical tree, and the tree rots. And that's like where the rotten creatures start coming from. So I wanted you to feel like transported to this world like immediately. Amy Kaza designed my website and she did an amazing job. I used to work at Disney World as a vacation planner, which is a fancy word for ticket salesperson. But I learned a lot about like the history of Disney because they make you do like Disney school while you're there and you get like a history lesson. And I learned a lot about immersion through working that little job. And I try to bring that into everything that I do for my art as well. So I'm glad that you noticed it and that the effect was effective and worked. So thank you.
Oh yeah. Whenever an artist goes that extra mile to really like make cohesion with their style and with the way that they're selling things, I really think that definitely immerses people. That kind of like takes them out of their element and kind of like you're wandering into a fairy tale when you pick up this piece of art.
Yes, that's what I want, and I want people to feel like they take a little piece of that home with them when they put it on their wall. And that's why I have like these really obnoxious ornate frames in my display, because it's like showing them a picture of like, this could be your home. It could have a window to another world. You know what I mean? And I think like the presentation is such a huge part of that, of like setting the scene and like creating the idea. And sorry, my cat is screaming at me. The idea in your customer's head, like this is what it could look like on my wall, and then my home could be that magical place. Do you mind if I let my cat in here, because then she'll be quiet?
No, that's fine.
You're good. You're good.
I know all about the fur baby problems.
Yes, for sure. I think we all have that plague.
Okay, Pepper. Now you have to make an appearance. Say hi, Pepper.
Oh, Pepper. So
Hello,
cute.
Pepper.
Now you're shy? What the heck?
Like, no.
But
Who
the
is that
entire
weird
internet
man?
She's camera shy now.
She hears a weird man's voice. She's going, what?
No, she sees my closet's open. Hold on, I gotta close that.
Oh no!
Don't let the kitty in the supply closet. That's a no-no.
I'm so sorry. Tad is
No, you're
supposed
good.
to be on cat duty, so I don't know what happened there. Yeah,
She
I know.
escaped.
I have a
Escaped.
cat. We have those like those cabinets that kind of turn in the kitchen in the corner, and my cat keeps
Oh,
one of my cats keeps getting in there, and like she can't get out when she's in. If I close it, and like she can push it open, but she can't get out. So I'm just like, every once in a while I just have to open it and be like, if I can't find her, I'll be like, Caradwin, are you in there?
what's her name?
Her name's Caradwin.
Caradwin.
Yeah, it's like
Is that from a book or something?
Celtic goddess, Caradwin.
Mhm.
Oh, that's a cool name. I'm gonna look her up later and read about her.
For sure.
Oh, well, dead air.
I had like a question that went right out of my head. It was about Terratoff. I know that. Oh my gosh.
Did it have something to do with immersion?
Yes, that's what it was. Thank you. Yeah, that's such a cool experience that you it's random and interesting how we pick up little things along the way that we can use for our own business.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Absolutely.
Like you would never guess that just working as a ticket seller at Disney and having to take this one-off weird course, whatever, like equate to being able to create immersion in your own work. And we try to do that at shows, right? Your booth stuff should all match. It should all look, when somebody comes into your booth, you want them to enter your world and not just a place where you hang art, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you're really good. You do that at Ren fairs, right? I've seen like the decor that you have at your Ren fair booths, and it looks really, really good. So
thank you. I try to do it everywhere. But Ren fair, I can really play with it because I have so much more space. But yeah, I try to make sure like I agonize over like the position of the paintings and making sure like, okay, we have like a silver frame, a gold frame, and then a silver frame. We don't have like too many things bunched up together. We have like a dragon here and then a dragon over there. So we don't have too many dragons together.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's a lot of planning that goes into it. And I think a lot about like, how are people actually going to hang this in their home? So, because I want to basically like create, what's the word I'm looking for? Like something aspirational.
Okay, yeah.
You know, like this is like what it could look like, what your home could look like. It doesn't have to be millennial gray and that's the end of it. You could have like some whimsy in your home. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And it's interesting because when we
transform your entire aesthetic, or at least a corner of your house,
right? Well, I know it was interesting when I started, because that was 20 years ago, and at the time, like fantasy wasn't what it was now. It was still something that like only nerds were into, and we didn't talk about it. Oh. So I would sell like a heck of a lot. Yeah. Well, and I'm in the Southwest too, so that doesn't help any. So I would sell like a hell of a lot of magnets because I was doing like these 3-inch magnets that the image was wrapped around and in plastic and everything. And they were selling like crazy because everybody would come in and be like, oh my gosh, dragons, I love dragons, but not enough to put one on my wall. Right?
Yeah.
They weren't quite ready to make that leap into full fantasy wacko. You know, it was
dragons are that stuff that's at the specialty store.
Right? Yeah. It's fun for your bathroom, but not for the rest of your house kind of thing.
Yeah.
So we sold a lot of magnets for that. And I think it's really cool that we've seen kind of this shift, especially as you know, nerd culture has grown up and the people that are our age were the people that played the first D&D and the first Magic the Gathering and stuff like that. And now they have homes
and adult money.
Yeah. And then they can invest in art and that matches their style and what they're into. So you have these like Magic the Gathering paintings from, you know, that are coming up for auction from 20 years ago that are selling for hundreds of thousands of dollars because everybody remembers collecting that one particular Magic card when they were young, you know?
Nice.
Well, and I think immersion is so like is really kind of popular right now. Like if you think about like the design aesthetic, cottage core,
Mm-hmm.
um, you know, there's lots of people out there with like the whimsy aesthetic that they're trying to incorporate into their living lifestyles. And really what I think it comes down to is that experience of play, like that you experienced as a child, and trying to uh, capture that in a like an art form, an aesthetic art form. So you're basically encapsulating that so that someone else will be inspired to play just like you were inspired to play when you were little. So
When I
Exactly.
Yeah, and I think also with whether the actual world is as dark as it is, we're on social media and we're seeing the news, and the news cycle is now a 24-hour news cycle. So we're immersed in this all the time. So I know when I was growing up, especially like as painting dragons, I got a lot of the whole, grow up and, get a real job and that kind of stuff. And I think that there's quite a bit of pushback on that. Like people are going, the world is going to suck anyway, whether I'm like dressed up in a flower crown and a fluey dress,
Mm-hmm.
or whether I'm wearing a business suit. So why am I going to wear the business suit when it doesn't fucking matter anymore?
I think especially for millennials, because like every 5 years or so, we're living through a once in a lifetime event. And I think that a lot of millennials in particular have just lost so much of their childhood to those events, and also being told you can do anything, and taking out huge college loans, and then for a lot of us that didn't work out. So I think that our age group in particular is just reveling in the nostalgia, and that's why things like Stranger Things are blowing up. um I think that I love that our generation just like really embraces the nostalgia and like the art and like the darkness of like those older days and that older media. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And now we have, as Alan said, we have adult money now. So now we can actually enjoy it. And that was actually one of the other things that I really focused on when I was trying to get back to making art. My studio looks lovely now, but it was chaos because we had just moved here and I basically was already in the process of being sick. So one of the first things I did was I just like redid my whole office. That's why you see like blank frames, because I'm like, there's going to be art here eventually, but there's a frame here now. And I just created the environment to like inspire me to make art. And oh my God, that was such a huge turning point for me. Just like creating the space to just foster creativity. And I want to be a part of that for other artists and like for everyday people that just want to foster creativity and inspiration in their homes.
For sure.
yes.
For
Yes.
sure. And that's a lot of why we do what we do, right? Is I know like the overarching, I don't know, message in my work or whatever has always been aspiration and do the things you love and go after the things you love and fuck everyone else kind of thing. And even now that's like permeated through all the rest of my work too, of just we're on this earth for such a short time in this particular life, and have fun. And someone telling you that you need to grow up and get a real job when there are no real jobs left anymore,
Yeah.
or that kind of thing. It's interesting to see now, especially, and you may have noticed this too, I think we may have talked about this before, but there's like this renaissance going on with artists and musicians and people of that type, because the rest of the world is so oppressive and is so like we've been working with the environment to try to make money and to try to chase money. A lot of us have, right? And now with everything as crazy as it is, you're not making money regardless, so you might as well do whatever the hell you want. And I've seen like a huge resurgence of artists recently who are just like, I'm going to do what I'm going to do now and not worry about what's going to sell at a convention or what's going to sell here or there or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And they're making like incredible work now.
Yeah. It reminds me of Cinna from the Hunger Games, the character who he creates all of Katniss's dresses.
Mm-hmm.
And that was like a huge part of her branding as the Mockingjay. And I feel like in particular, I anyway, as an artist in the state of the world, and someone who's like dealing with health issues, I'm like, what can I do? What can I do to fight against this storm, this darkness that we're all living through right now? Whatever your challenges in life may be. And honestly, thinking about Cinna and like the impact he had in those books through his art, through his passion, and how Katniss could not have been the Mockingjay without Cinna's artwork.
Yeah.
And I find that really inspiring as an artist to think that like there's something in my art and in my work that is important to getting through the darkness and getting through the hard times that nobody else can make. Mm-hmm. And so, yes, all of you make art now. just do it, because you never know the impact it's going to have. Like every once in a while I get, women coming up to my booth with tears in their eyes talking about like how my art has impacted them. And I had no idea that, my work was helping other people. One thing that they say again and again, it's the escape for me. Like, your art is my escape. Thank you for making it. Keep making it.
Mm-hmm.
We're also the beacons. We're the beacons. We are
the lighthouse.
We are the lighthouse. We are lighting the fires of Gondor. We are up on top of those mountains, lighting those fires, letting people know that help is coming. Help is there. Like we're letting them know that, hope still exists, and that there's something, like Samwise says, there's something good worth fighting for.
Exactly. In zombie apocalypse, there's two types of characters. They're the ones that keep you alive, and then they're the ones that make life worth living, like all the children in all of the zombies.
For sure.
That's our role in all of this, is to like help remind people that there is beauty in the world and there is magic. You just have to stop to see it. You just have to let yourself be immersed in it.
Mm-hmm. Did you ever see I think it was an M. Night Shyamalan movie, The Lady in the Water?
Oh, I think I did so long ago. I don't really remember it, unfortunately.
Yeah, and he wasn't even about a main character. It was, she came through the pool and to inspire him to create this book that was going to be on the shelf of somebody's house that was going to become president and inspire an entire generation. And that's, I think that's a lot of where we all come from, is we're not looking to inspire that one person who's going to change the world. But if we don't create something, then what else is there? Right. Mm-hmm. I think all of us, or a lot of us, and a lot of the people that we've talked to on this podcast, are driven by something bigger than ourselves. And that sounds so trite and sound like we're bigger than we are, like an ego-driven thing. But for a lot of us, it's not. It's just a calling that we don't have a choice but to answer and create. And we enjoy it too, right? We're doing it from our hearts. We're doing it because we love doing this.
Honestly, some days I have to inspire myself.
I've been there.
That's definitely for sure. Yeah, more often than not now. But yeah, it's hard to put into words, because it's like once you finish the work, a lot of us are not married to it anymore. It has to go out and see who it can find, who will be inspired to do something bigger than it, as it moves down the line. And like you, I've had similar experiences where I've had people come in crying and like, oh my God, your work changed my life. Or it's kind of why I drift towards oracle decks, because it's a tool that people can use to whether get in touch with themselves or become better people, whatever. And that's a big deal for me.
I love when a kid goes up and they're just in awe at my dragons, and they're like flipping through the bins, looking at all the artwork and stuff like that. Like that, seeing that awe on their face is really kind of worth it. That's like getting paid in a different kind of way.
Oh my God, yeah. One time at a con, there was this little boy, and he came to my booth, and I gave him the whole Terratoff spiel. And I was like, and every piece has a story on the back. Feel free to read as many as you like. And he was there for like maybe 10, 15 minutes, just reading lots of stories. And his parent was just like letting them entertain themselves. And finally it was time for little Timmy to go. And he puts the art down. He's like, okay, I'm gonna go now. I'm like, oh, it's so nice meeting you. Bye bye. And he goes to walk away, but then he stops and he turns around and he looks at me and he says, I hope all of your dreams come true.
Oh my God.
Oh my goodness.
I have to make the Terratoff novels for little Timmy because he believes.
Do it for Timmy.
I will do it
for Timmy. It's crazy, and I'm sure you've seen this at Ren fairs, especially where the parents are like in a beeline to get to somewhere, and the kids are the one that are like trying to pull their parents back into your booth, and it breaks my heart when the parent turns around and they're like, "No, we're too busy. We can't do that." And the kids just like, this eyes are this big, and but mommy, I want to go look. And it's like it's heartbreaking. It's that whole, because I remember being told, "Hurry up and grow up," right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like, even if I'm not making sales at a convention or something, I still appreciate the attention. Like, I still appreciate people coming up and like really getting to look at the work and be like, oh, this is awesome, and because that like motivates me to keep going and, all right, I must be on the right track.
Some of my biggest supporters on Patreon have come from slow shows because I have the time to really sit there and like tell them the spiel. And like, if I can get enough time and they're interested enough for me to tell them, this is a game I used to play when I was a kid. It's a dark fantasy world that's inspired a lot by like things like The Last Unicorn and Don Bluth films and that kind of thing. And once I can get them in the vibe and tell them like, one day I want to make books about this, they are sold. And those have been some of my biggest and longest lasting Patreon supporters. So even if it's a slow show, you never know like the kinds of connections that you can make. So it's really easy to just like check out. I went to scout another event recently, and I won't say the event because I don't want to give it a bad name or anything, but like there were artists literally sleeping at their booths.
No.
Yeah. I even said like, oh, I recognize this artist from TikTok. And they did not wake up. They were just like, so.
Oh my goodness.
I trust me. I understand the temptation. As somebody who has chronic fatigue, I understand the temptation, but it's like you said, like you can't just like lose hope. There are things to be salvaged even in those days.
Well, and doing this for such a long stretch of time, I mean, I've raised collectors. I have kids that were 5, 6, 7, 8 that came into my booth that bought a bookmark. And then 15 years later, now that they have their adult money, they're coming in and they're buying prints, right?
Yep.
And that's great and sad at the same time because the passage of time, but
she had a guy buy 6 things at once.
It's really cool.
There was a lady at Heroes Con who was like, she was pregnant when she bought her first piece from me to put in her baby's nursery. And now her baby, who's like, they must have been like 7 or 8 now. They were like taking out their own limited edition. So I was like, okay, girl, get yours.
Yep.
So, yeah, you do raise some of them. And it's so cool to like see them come back again and again. And I just ignore that it means I'm getting old.
Right.
I just ignore it.
No, it means our art is timeless.
We'll be the wise old artists.
Right? Yeah. I was at a outdoor pagan show, Pagan Pride Day last year. And a girl came in and she was so shy. And she was looking through everything and her friends came by and I was talking to her friends and because she was very shy and she was picking out 4 prints. And her friend was like, yeah, she bought from you like 15 years ago at Ren Fair when she was like 7 years old. And she started to explain it to me and I remembered her.
Wow.
From when she was 7 years old and buying that piece. And it was like they came by first and she loved my work. And then her parents like took her around, or like it was the whole like, we'll come back later. And the parents are like, she wants something at every booth. And I was like, yeah, that's fine, whatever. And then they came back around. I was like, that's all she talked about all day long was your work. And she bought a piece. And now she's in her 18, 19, 20 and is purchasing a piece, a 4 set of prints. And it's so cool. It's just,
that is so cool. Cause like, I think back to like when I was a kid and I was seeing things like Amy Brown's art in Hot Topic. Yes. And like, I would still get Amy Brown art today, so that's Amy like Brown's you are to that kid.
And Amy's a lovely person, by the way. She's awesome. I adore Amy.
I want to
and that's even better when like, cause it's well, like with licensing with my agent, you know, half the artists he reps are people that I was a huge fan of when I was growing up. And now we're like in Vegas and we're talking about art and business and they're asking me questions and I'm like, I don't know anything. You guys are the ones that know everything. You know,
That
yeah.
would be so trippy.
It's so cool. I love it.
Yeah, I just keep thinking about Terratoff and like, what if Guillermo del Toro read this Terratoff book someday?
I would adore for him to make my Terratoff movie dream happen one day. I love he did the one with the fawn, Pan's Labyrinth, right?
Pan's
Yes,
Labyrinth.
yes.
Yeah. I can
Those
see that
vibes.
aesthetic perfectly.
Those vibes.
Those
Yep.
vibes. Yeah.
Terratoff coated.
Very, very. It's like,
Got to get you to Lightbox.
yeah, that's in California, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
One day. I gotta write the books first, though. I gotta gotta get those done. That was another dragon I wanted to mention, Alan, that I'm kind of facing right now. Is this year was going to be the year I would start actually writing the books, but financially we hit some hiccups, so now like I have to go back to shows. So that's kind of like what I'm dealing with now is adding shows back to my calendar, facing how things have changed in just like the past 5 years since I kind of took a hiatus. The only show I've been doing while I was still sick was Heroes Con, because it's like right down the corner from me now, and the North Carolina Renaissance Fair. And even that was just like so much wear and tear on my body. I'm in a much better place now, but now I'm like, okay, now I have to go back to like doing a show every other month or so. This is going to be interesting.
That's scary too, because you remember what it was like when it was really bad. And like the last thing you want to do is go back to that. So I know like I've booked 5 or 6 shows before the end of the year. And even I'm like, can I handle this? Am I going to be okay? Like, am I going to crash again and be out of commission for another couple of months? Like it's something that you start thinking about all the time.
I've done more shows this year than I've ever done in my entire life.
How many have you done?
Well, I did Norman. I've done
Silver Sage.
I'm and I'm also doing 2 Silver Sage. I'm doing 2 gallery workshops at an art gallery in Joplin. So I actually have to start one tomorrow.
Oh, that's cool.
And yeah, it's going to be like fantasy art and creatures workshops for 11 kids. So, and I'm going to. Then I had JomoCon this last weekend. Me and Carla in a couple weeks will be in Tulsa, and then in September I've got helping Carla in Kansas City. I've got got another show.
Great Plains.
Yeah, Great Plains Rinfest. So I'm doing the circuit. I'm doing a circuit.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to invest and see if this is something like I can maintain, like keep maintaining.
Well, and you're working full time at the same time still. So yeah,
I work full time during the summer I don't, but working full time during the school year too. So it's but we get weekends off. So
yeah, that works. Like the reason I have to go back to doing so many shows is because my husband lost his job, but he was working at a animation studio and he had the weekends off. So that worked out really well for us, except when it was Renaissance Fair, because then poor Tad really did not get a break. He got Fridays off because he worked like a different schedule. He did like longer days so he could have a 3-day weekend.
4/10s.
Yeah.
So that's something we're trying to figure out, like how can I make this a business that we can both survive on? Because I could back in the day, but now like I think the level of talent has just gotten so much better. Yes. And I was just talking to Tad about this today because there are so many people in the animation industry who are losing their jobs at studios, and now they're going to start doing cons. So now we're competing against them.
Yeah. And I've brought it up before too, that with how rough things have gotten, a lot of the old guard is coming out of retirement too.
Mm-hmm.
So you have the Todd Lockwoods and people like that who quit doing conventions because they didn't need them anymore. And now they're yes, but now they're doing conventions and they're going back to Gen Con and Dragon Con and they have the clout and the pull and the money to be able to do these bigger cons. And there's such a distance now between small cons, middle cons, and big cons that you've got to weigh that out now. And yeah, it's become a thing. It's changed so much. And I think the Renaissance fairs are growing, but it's not just in our industry either. It's the whole country. It's everybody's losing their job. Everybody's pinching pennies. So people now that used to just craft or crochet or knit or do hobbies are now trying to make a buck off their hobbies. So now they're going into these Renaissance fairs and things like that because it's an inexpensive booth fee and whatnot. And, they can crochet for a month and then throw it out on a table, or they can 3D print and throw it out on a table or things like that. So even at the Renaissance fairs, we're coming up against a lot more traffic and a lot more people vying for the same spaces.
Yeah, exactly.
Have you and Tad talked about, because you said he's an animator as well, or?
Well, he worked in the animation industry. He primarily did storyboarding and character design.
Have you guys talked about possibly just like there's a lot of independent animators, like a growing industry of independent animators, because so many of them are losing their jobs. Possibly just trying to animate Terratoff yourself. Like there's some people that do YouTube videos and stuff like that, animated YouTube videos.
That's a great question. And I know I mentioned that my background is in animation, but my animation days are behind me. And I have a love for it as a medium. But the number one thing I learned when I went to animation school was that I actually hate animating. So like for me, what draws me to illustration, I think so much is just being able to tell a story in one image. And I love like analyzing the colors that I'm going to use and the symbols and like just like the lighting and the mood to like communicate my story in one image. And I don't like animating because I'm slow and impatient. And so there's so many, it's such a long process. And like, I just want to tell as many stories as I can. And with animation, you're taking a really long time to tell one story. So I just want to like, bam, 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 get to the next story because I just have so many stories in my head from this world. I keep like a little idea book and like, I always, even like what I'm doing right now, I don't have enough time to explore them all. But Tad and I have talked about like other projects we could do together potentially. So we've talked about like right now we're doing the coloring books. We've talked about potentially doing comics because Tad really loves doing comics.
Nice.
So
cool.
I might write a Terratoff comic and he might illustrate it. That could happen one day. There's also another story that we have that we really want to do. So if I ever, this is going to sound like so like left field, but if Terratoff is ever completed, I would really love to do like dystopian stories. And we have this one idea that we came up with together. And so that's something that we would like to explore one day. But animation, cool. I don't think that I will be doing any animation. Another book I'm reading right now that I really love is Buy Back Your Time. And so that is something I will buy back one day.
There you go.
Nice.
I will hire people who are very passionate about animation and who do it so much better than I ever did. But yeah, that was a valuable lesson though in school, like learning what I don't like, because if I hadn't gone through that, I would have always pined the idea of like, oh, I wanted to be I wanted to be the female Walt Disney.
Right?
That's fair. That's fair. I felt the same way about graphic design. So I tried to change my major to graphic design at one point in time, and then I found out like, I don't like this. I don't like making like titles and vectorizing things, and I was just like, I want to go back to drawing. So
I'm so there with you. I also am not a fan of graphic design. Well, I like it as an art, but I'm not very good at doing it either. So
it takes me forever to do a logo. Like it's just not it's not my forte.
I did my Terratoff logo and I was good with that.
Right.
That was the end. The cool thing about it that I really love is there's a face hidden in it.
Oh, now I'm gonna have to go back and look at that.
Right?
When people see it, they're like, "Oh my God, there's a face!" That was like the one good logo I had in me, and now it's done.
You blew it all in one.
She's like, "And I'm done. And I'm done."
I'm done.
That's all she wrote.
You can't top perfection.
Terratoff the Oracle deck. Terratoff the board game.
Dude, an Oracle deck would be amazing.
I do somewhat of an Oracle deck through Patreon. I have a deck called Rot and Winnow deck, the Rot and Winnow deck, and the Rot and Hero deck. And the concept of it is the Queen of Terratoff wants to educate the masses about the heroes of the realm and the Rot, because if you know the Rot's name, you can have some control over them. And the more you know about their story and the more you know about like who they are and like the evil they've committed, the more of an advantage you'll have if you encounter them. So she created these cards as a way to like educate her subjects about Rot and about like the heroes. So this is like kind of like how we remember like the presidents and like people.
Yeah, I was gonna say it sounds like a collectible card game kind of.
It is. Yeah. And that was a little bit inspired by like Cardcaptor Sakura. But I made it like a real thing that my patrons can collect. So I do.
Oh, that's sweet.
I do that. But I do want to do like a version that is open to the public. So that is down the pipeline. Now that Tad is working for me and I have like his full attention, we're experimenting to see, can him working with me open up more of these projects, because I was trying to do the coloring book myself.
Ooh, yeah.
And I was doing it like a different, I still would like to do this version of it, but I was basically taking like my drawings and making them grayscale. But in order to make those colorable, there's so much cleanup that has to happen. And now I am wiser because I made a lot of mistakes. So I know to scan my drawing at every phase, but I didn't know that when I started this collection. So some of my older pieces take a really long time to make colorable, but Tad is just inking over all of it. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to give this to Tad. I'm going to focus on making more art. Like I'm buying back my time and the
art is the one thing you can do. Like you're the only one that can do that. And
the more time I can spend doing that stuff, the better. I have like an ongoing list of tasks I want to offload as I can afford it. And like my dream list is to have like a gardener and to have someone to clean my cat litter and to like do those kinds of things, because
taxes,
taxes,
a fucking accountant.
I have an accountant, girl. I can give you a recommendation. Like,
yes,
I'll give you my
because I am not there and I need help. I'm drowning in the mundane garbage that.
Oh, that was one of the first things that I stopped doing. Because no way. When we're done with this, I'll give you my.
Kickstarter just came in, so maybe I can pay ahead a little bit and figure that out. That would be awesome, because that would be amazing. And when you're ready to like do a Kickstarter and an Oracle deck and that kind of stuff, reach out, because I totally can like. I have another 2 Oracle decks that I want to do now. That tie into the Enchanted Blossoms deck. So I'm in that same thing where like the rest of this month, I'm just getting stuff off of my plate so I can focus on doing the art and finding those things that I could pay people to do so I don't have to do them and I can just make the art, because like I said, we're the only ones that can do that part.
Exactly. And I'm like 4 years behind because of
a few years too. Yeah.
Being in and out of the hospital. And also as like a type A firstborn daughter, I want to do everything perfect all the time. And one of the things that Buy Back Your Time, that book has helped me to kind of embrace is
that one I haven't heard of.
Do it badly. Just get it. There are like the things that I need to do great are making my art and writing the stories. Everything else, I have to be bold enough to do it shittily.
There you go.
Or pass it on to like girl, you got to get a CPA. Don't do your own like.
Yes, please.
That was one of the first things that I offloaded. The author of that book, if you are interested,
Yes,
let me see.
because that one I haven't heard of.
Buy Back Your Time by Dan Martell.
Okay.
We might put some of these in the show note for the
I will,
YouTube
for
show
sure.
notes, too.
I've dropped so many books. I don't
Reading is good for you.
I don't think of myself as like a huge reader until I get into these conversations and like I just talk about books nonstop. So I'm proud of myself that
Well, and I have to listen to nonfiction. Like I like reading my fiction and then listening to my nonfiction. If I try to read nonfiction, I just fall asleep. But if I'm listening to it, I can listen to it while I work, which is enough that it keeps my brain engaged.
Yeah, I have the audiobook for that.
So
Nice.
Heather, one of the questions I wanted to ask was when you made it through like the worst part of your chronic illness and were able to start creating again, how good did that feel to be able to be in touch with that magic again that that felt like you?
You're gonna make me cry. When I first got sick and I couldn't make art anymore for a while, I went through a grieving process and thinking about like what else could I do with my life? Where do I go from here? What comes next? You know, for a while I was trying to prepare myself for I could be like this for the rest of my life, and what am I going to do with the abilities that I have now? And I was reading books actually about intuitive eating, because as a 90s kid who is a female, I have had a lot of ups and downs with diet culture. And so I was interested in learning more about this idea of intuitive eating. And one of the things that they talk about again and again is not listening to the shame about your body and loving your body and embracing it for what it can do.
Mm-hmm.
And so I thought about that a lot. I thought about like, and you know, that's hard when you're like rolling around at a bridal shower in a wheelchair, like someone else's like best day, and I'm struggling. But I would sit there and I journaled a lot during this time. I used a lot of oracle decks and tarot decks to help me just like get those prompts, just to like find something to be grateful for, find something to be happy about. And so I learned how to like love my body where it is now and where it is in the moment, and even love the maybe not so healthy things that it does, because it does those things to cope with my environment and the things that I've been through. So that was a really big part of it for me. And I think the acceptance part is crucial as a first step, because then it can only go up from there. You know, once I started to find doctors that will help you, find doctors that will listen to you. They are out there, and don't just take your pain is normal as an answer. Keep going, keep looking. Because there are doctors that care out there. Shout out to Dr. Butler. I love you. So once I had like accepted where I was, and I had this like radical love for my body and where I was in that moment, I started to be able to think about things like, okay, well, what can I do? I can do this 15 minutes of drawing a day. And like, I've heard it before, but it's so true in practice. The idea that inspiration is bullshit and it's fleeting. You have to like create your own inspiration. So just by like building this studio to be like my little oasis from the rest of the house. We are renovating the house still, but my office is my little getaway from all of that. I have my plants, I have my cat, I have Annie Stegg and Corey Godby all over the wall, all of this inspiration. And
Court Godby, oh, so good.
I have an original on my wall from him,
dude.
Awesome.
Nice.
But anyway, once I started to like create that inspiration and see, yes, I can do this. And I also, this is why I tried to leave Instagram, but I don't think I ever really could, because one of the things I used to do a lot when I was really ill, I would scroll my old Instagram and I would tell myself, if I could do it then, I can do it again. and also being like, I think like as artists, we look at our work like when it's fresh and we're like, oh, it's terrible. I don't like this. But now I'm looking back at all my old art as like a sick person in bed. And I'm like, it's actually pretty good. You know? So just kind of like getting that just little boost of the 15 minutes every day made me feel so much more empowered and like I could do it. And so once I got to the point where I could actually finish a painting, I felt incredible. I just felt like, yes, I can do this. It doesn't look like how it looked 5 years ago. And my body and my life has changed a lot in that time. And I have to do things a lot differently than I did back then. But I figured it out and I can do it. And so, yeah, it felt pretty amazing, a huge relief. You know, do I sometimes wish I could go back and have the energy that I did back then? Of course. But I've accepted that, you know, that was a great thing that happened in that time. And now there's great things to come at this age. So I just have to embrace those things, like not being afraid to hire people to do things for me, you know, and having the experience to know it would be better if somebody else did my taxes. It would be better if somebody else made this coloring book. Like as an eldest daughter with anxiety, I have a little bit of a control issue. just
I don't know what you're talking about. No.
This is what people say. This is what the fake news says about me. So learning to, you know, placate the masses a bit by experimenting with this radical like release of control, that is not something I could have done back then because I had the energy. So in a way, the silver lining to the chronic fatigue is, well, now I have to let go of control because I have no other option if I want this dream to be a reality. And even just by Tad doing the coloring pages, which is not even like really something I was super hyper focused on at the time, has just given me such a boost emotionally and like mentally and energetically. Because I'm like, oh my God, I'm finishing a painting and he's finishing my coloring book. And we could do so many things at the same time.
Yeah.
Stuff that's still getting done. Oh my gosh.
I know. It's amazing. So yeah. I hope that everybody who's struggling with chronic illness can also get there. But even like, if you just, you know, if you're listening and you're struggling with chronic illness and, you know, you think you can never get back there, you know, I didn't get back to where I was, but there is something new. There is a new path. There can be a way to still embrace that artistic identity. So don't give up.
For sure.
Awesome.
It's crazy how
That
much
was
your
an amazing
story is
answer.
paralleled my own. That's just
I know, right? We've talked about
mind-boggling. Well, even down to like the tarot and oracle. Like, yeah, I remember doing all of that stuff, and I remember like the time when I realized that I may have to go on disability because I wasn't sure if I could keep going and all of that. Like, it's listening to you talk about your stories, just I'm like, that's the exact same thing that I went through, and the exact kind of the process and the way I kind of helped get out of it too is very, very similar. And I just think that's amazing, and I'm so glad, and thank you for coming on and sharing that, and hopefully sharing that, you know, to other people that they're not alone either. Right.
And you looking through your own Instagram feed, you were giving yourself hope with your own art. Like the artist you were was reaching forward in time to give yourself hope and a way forward. So that's you know, it's incredible that our artwork can do that for us as artists.
Yeah.
Because in the moment, sometimes we're just like, I hate this.
That's how I feel pretty much after every painting. I'm like, I hate it. It's the worst. And then 2 months later, I'm like, oh, actually, it's pretty good. Usually around the time people start buying it, I'm like, okay, so
it's not that bad.
When it starts making a little money, it's like, yeah, I can live with that for a little while.
It's that external validation just makes it all better.
Yes, absolutely. Awesome. I think that's a really great high point to end on. So thank you for joining us, Heather. This has been an amazing conversation. If you let people know one more time where to find your stuff.
You can find me on Terratoff.com, HeatherHitchman.com, also redirects to that. I'm also on Instagram. If you want to support my dream to make this world a reality, check out my Patreon, because that's like my hub, and I treat my patrons, aka my Terratoffians, very well. I try to involve them in everything behind the scenes and give them a lot of,
Terratoffians.
yes, Terratoffians. I give them a lot of, behind the scenes content, and I love my patrons. Like, they got me through financially a lot of my illness because I was so afraid that people were going to cancel. The majority of them stuck through like barely any work for 2 years, and now
That's
I'm like
awesome.
bombarding them. I'm like,
Right?
here's all the stuff you missed. It's
Here's
coming
all the
for ya.
things.
So yeah, if you
That's
want to
awesome.
help me make the stream a reality, check out my Patreon. And there's a codex coming to my website soon where you can read all about the different creatures and lore of Terratoff itself.
That's cool.
That's gonna be awesome. That's gonna be a great resource for when you're writing your book too.
I know. Well, some people, they get like really into it, and they like, there's some people that remember lore from like 10 years ago that I forgot. So I need to put it all
somewhere
in one place.
Right?
Yep.
That's awesome.
Thank you so much for having me. You guys are so wonderful to talk to.
Here.
Got me all emotional on camera. How dare
That's
you?
so good. We love you. We love you. Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us at Here Be Dragons. Make sure to like, subscribe, and find us on the web at herebedragonsartcast.com. We're on all the things. We're on Substack. We're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts, YouTube, and anywhere else you listen. Thank you, and we will see you next time.
Thank you.
Thank you.